All right. We got Kentucky. We got Auburn. Both of these coaches are probably on what we like to call a hot seat. That's what most people say. I don't think Mark Stoops' seat is as hot as Hugh Freeze's seat. I don't. I think that Kentucky will probably have some excuses that may give Mark Stoops more time, but it'll have to happen next year. And we've seen them compete in some games, especially last year. Like, they almost had Georgia last year. They beat Ole Miss last year. And for school, historically, that's been known as a blue blood basketball program, and at one point was one of the laughing stocks of the SEC. I think they're comfortable there. We look at Vince Merrill, who left, and he's now the general manager at Louisville, crosstown rival. I think his seat isn't as hot as Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze's seat is scorching. This game is on Saturday, November 1st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk about it. It's been almost a decade since Kentucky last took Auburn down. Auburn leads the series 28-6-1. That the Tigers have definitely dominated this matchup. And when we look ahead at this team pulse, let's talk about we're gonna always talk about the away team first, but let's talk about Hugh Freeze and where he's at right now. Hugh Freeze is my fault. Got a message from Nino. Bet it. Hugh Freeze is 4-4 right now. His seat is extremely hot. He's done something that I haven't seen most coaches do when they know that they're on a hot seat. He's asking for more time because he believes that he's the guy for the job, just like everybody believes that they're the guy for the job, whether it's the job that they're on or maybe another job that has an opening as well. But he's 4-4. People were very critical of Hugh Freeze over the summer. They thought he spent too much time golfing and not enough time planning and getting this team ready for the season. But now we are here. It's almost November, and now we have an open quarterback competition between Jackson Arnold and Ashton Daniels at this part of the season. That's when, me personally, I started to say, well, hold on, something isn't right here. I can see if this change happens earlier. I can see if this change happened maybe after the first couple games of the season. I can see if this change happened during fall camp. I can see if this change happened during spring camp. But you brung Jackson Arnold there, and I'm sure the saying was, hey, you should win the starting job here, but it will be a competition. He won the job. Like, what intel did you not get from Oklahoma that you're at this point? Because, of course, we all blame Seth McGowan for the offense being as bad as it was in Norman. But I think some of that onus has to go to Jackson Arnold as well. Because, of course, Oklahoma is putting up more points this year. They did get a new quarterback at John Mateer, also got a new coordinator in Ben Arbuckle. So while I will probably place most of that onus on Seth McGowan, I think some of it has to go to... I just completely went blank. Has to go to Jackson Arnold. Only because we're seeing similar issues that he had between Norman and now that he's having at Auburn. So to have a quarterback competition this late is crazy. It's 100% crazy. So let's talk about Kentucky's side of the things. They're 2-5. Things have not looked good in Lexington at all. I think the biggest issues I've had with Stoops is that they've always seemed to have a revolving door at offensive coordinator. It almost seemed like every year and a half, you get a new offensive coordinator. And I think your teams begin to struggle with continuity. They've also had some really good players that have entered the portal and had success elsewhere. That's also been a little bit bothersome for me. But Bush, Hamden, their offensive coordinator, it's a pro-style offense with a little bit of tempo, but focused on efficiency and explosive play creation, and they've struggled in those areas 100%. Cutter Boley, shown some progress. He got 1,200 yards on the year, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Running back has 476 yards, 7 touchdowns on the season, and Laws got on the outside with 302 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think DJ Miller added 2 touchdowns a week ago in Tennessee. It was a good game at one point, but Tennessee just put up so many points in that game. I don't know. I started to look at this and say, is this a Mark Stoops problem? I don't think it's a Mark Stoops problem. I've talked to Kentucky fans. What was my guy named? John. I forgot his last name. He came on the show. This is when we had the flagship show, CFB Nation, when it was a show before it ended up being a platform. And he was saying, like, he remember how bad those teams were growing up and versus where they're at once Mark Stoops got there. So he's beloved there. I think it'll be really difficult to replace them. In Kentucky, offensively, they average 361 yards per game. That's 93rd nationally. 24.1 points per game. That's not going that ain't gonna kick it in no conference, but especially in the SEC, that's not gonna cut it at all. And they'll face one of the toughest units yet. The Tigers' top 5 rush defense. They only allow 84 rushing yards per game. So Kentucky, if they're gonna win this game, they're gonna have to do it all with the ability to pass the ball. Defensively, Brad White is their defensive coordinator. 3-4 base defense, multiple fronts. It's kind of what you've seen in the SEC for a very long time. Most teams ran 3-4. Seldomly you'll see them use like a 4-3 front, but now you see a lot of teams transition into that 4-2-5, just with that ability to have that fifth defensive back on the field, and it just gives you so much balance. When these teams run no huddle, you can stay on your base defense. That's why a lot of teams like to do that. But Kentucky defense is struggling. They're allowing 384 yards per game. That's 90 nationally, and 30 points per game. That's 108th. It's 136 teams. That tell you how bad that they are. 108th, and then they've also been gashed through the air. They allow 253 yards per game and have a -6 turnover margin. That is not good. Derek Nix, offensive coordinator for Auburn. It's a balanced, tempo-driven system. It gives you a lot of looks, though. I think lately they've tried to pass the ball a little bit more. They were more heavy run-oriented. The earlier stages of the season, especially that Baylor game, run a lot of jet motions just to run Jackson Arnold, and he gashed that Baylor defense. He had over 100 yards rushing. So I think the identity was for Auburn, hey, these non-con games, let's build the confidence. Let's put some wins together. Let's win by any means necessary. And each and every week we'll start adding more to get more success via the air. And that just has not happened. It hasn't happened at all. I talked to you all about the quarterback competition. And Jackson Arnold only has 1,200 yards in the season, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Granted, that pick 6 he threw last week was terrible. I think there's just times he's a little bit too safe with the ball. And then I say that, and then you guys were like, well, he just threw a pick 6, right? But I just think there were times, like, you know, you got a guy like Cam Coleman, man. Give him a 50-50, man. Let him go out there and make a play. Ashton Daniels certainly would give them, I think, a little bit more stability as it pertains to passing the ball. Cobb is a guy at running back, 717 yards on 117 carries, not bad at all. Cam Coleman continues to deliver. He got 440 yards, 3 touchdowns. If he's in another system with a more proven quarterback, I think his numbers are just through the roof. DJ Durkin, defensive coordinator, been a staple there. 4-3 in its core, but it also runs a lot of 4-5, 4-2-5, my apologies, 4-2-5 principles. And that's what you got to play in these days of time. You got to be able to play that 4-3, 4-2-5 look to be able to get that fifth defensive back on the field, because these teams go fast, especially some of these teams in the SEC. They go really fast, but they do like to do simulated pressures, and they like to disguise their coverages and their pressures as well. Auburn defense isn't bad. I think they're actually pretty good. They're 28th nationally in total defense. They allow 317 yards per game. 5th against the run. They're not bad at all. 21st in scoring defense. They allow 18.6 points per game. This defense is played well. Let's get into some key metrics. Yards per play. You want to know how well an offense is doing? I told you guys the averages from the matchups that I do is somewhere around 6.1, 6.2. Auburn's at 5.1. Kentucky's at 5.3 yards per play. Both of these teams are struggling on offense. Turnover margin, Auburn is up +7. They're 13th in the country. Kentucky is -6. That's 117th in the country. We've identified a few overwhelming weaknesses for Kentucky. Third down conversion. Auburn's defense is at 31.8%. It's 23rd in the country. Damn good. Kentucky is at 37.9%. That's 73rd in the country. Now we got a strength versus weakness. Time of possession. Kentucky, 32 minutes. I told you guys, the really good teams are 33, almost 34 minutes a game. They get 21st in the country. Auburn's at 29 minutes. They're 49th in the country. I visually cannot see a way that Kentucky wins this game. I think it's close. But if Auburn loses this game, Hugh Freeze is gone. Like, this game is in Auburn. The fans are going to want him gone. You're going to hear it. Just like you heard it in Baton Rouge and Brian Kelly is gone. Just like you heard it in Gainesville. and Billy Napier is gone. The fans will sing it loud and clear, just like you heard it in Blacksburg, and Brent Pryor is gone. The fans are going to say, they're going to let you know if they're sick and tired of you. If this game is closer than they think it is, it may be a Billy Napier situation where, hey, you won the game, but it was too close. Yeah, you got to go. So Hugh Freeze, he's fighting. I don't want to say he's not doing the work. He is doing the work. I know in some people's minds he spent too much time on the green. But Auburn has to win this game, right? But we've seen Kentucky in moments like these find a way to win a really super ugly game. We've seen them. I'm going to take the safe pick. I think Auburn wins this game. I think it's closer than advertised. Give me Auburn like 24 to like 21 or 24 to 17, something like that. If Kentucky wins this game, like I said, Hugh Freeze is definitely gone.